about me. A lot of people see me around. A lot of people don't know anything about me, or don't know a lot about me, or don't know much about me. Let's put it that way. So this is an opportunity to learn a little bit more about me. Let me just take this second to share the live in a couple groups that I am in, and we go from there. Today's not going to be long. I know, I say that all the time. But today I promise it's not going to be long. You can ask questions. If I could answer them, I will. If not, I won't. And we go from there. All right, so today is just going to be a real interactive, let's just have fun. Let us get away from all of the crazy madness, corona, all of that stuff. And let's just do something different today. All right, just give me one more second. Let me forward. Right. Okay, guys, so hi everyone. Let me find my screen. Hi everyone. How are you all going? It's a wonderful day. Hi, Cassie. Hey, Dr. Faith, blessings to you. Hi, thank you for joining. Blessings to you too. Annie Daniel says, hi, Faith. How are you? I'm good. Dion Walker says, blessed day, hon. Same to you, Dion. Torrit Loria says, good. I guess you were answering the question about sound. So Oscar says, what are we going to learn? What are we going to learn? How to become a doctor? Maybe I'll tell you a little bit about my journey. So maybe that could help. That could help something. Thanks, Cassie. You're welcome. And Lee's asking what's important to me. I could answer that question. I could answer that. So maybe I would start there. What's important to me? So what's important to me? That's a kind of a hard question. There are so many things that are important to me. So I am firmly of the belief that I should act so as to encourage the best in others. And by doing so, I will develop the best in myself. That is a humanist saying. And it is the idea that whatever we do, we should do it so that we develop other people. And because you develop other people, the universe answers you, and the universe allows you to grow and allows you to flourish as a result of it. So what's important to me? Ensuring that this island that I live on becomes the best possible island that it could be, ensuring that my friends and my family are well and that they're well taken care of, ensuring that even those who I don't know are well taken care of and they can do what they want to do. They could achieve their life goals, and that they can do it from right here. That is what is important to me, and that is why I did it. Seashell is saying, hi, blessings, hon. Hi, my dear. How are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Oh, my goodness. We went to school together. One of my best friends from way back when. Patty says that I am looking gorgeous. Oh, and thank you. For those of you who saw the video before, I Left my house today for the first time in quite a while. I had to go to a couple meetings. I had to go do a couple things, and I put on makeup. So it's one of the reasons why I'm doing this live. I figured if my face looks this good, somebody has to see it. Somebody outside of the 2 or 3 or 5 people who are going to see me in person, other people have to see it. So hey, I know my mother calls me vain, and I accept the fact I am vain. So, a little bit about me. My name is, I was born Faith Sabrina Keisha Brebnor. I was born in Belgarden, Tobago, and I grew up in Belgarden, where the bakery is, Breb's Bakery, the best bakery in all the land. Breb's, short for Brebnor. So the bakery is actually owned by my uncle and his wife and family and so forth. So the bakery is owned by the family. So I was born here, grew up here. I went to preschool in Belgarden, where my mom was the teacher. And my mom still is a preschool teacher, Lidmoy Brebnor, now Lidmoy Brebnor Dillon. She's still a preschool teacher all these years later. So she was at the preschool. I went to school when I was like 2. Um, I went to Belgarden Anglican. And after Belgarden Anglican, in those days we had common entrance. I sat common entrance, and that year we had zoning. So the people, the people who were from town, the people who were from town went to town schools. The people who were from country went to country schools, regardless of how quote unquote bright you were. So even though at the time I thought I should go to bishops, and I knew I had quote unquote passed for bishops, because they were zoning that year, I went to Roxborough Sec. And to be honest, it was the best decision, I think, of my life. It was the absolute best decision of my life. No, I can't fathom, I can't think, I can't even, the idea of having at that point at 11, 12, 13, having to get up so early in the morning and go to school in town, to me, that would have been so difficult, and it would have added so much more pressure on me. So I'm glad I stayed in Roxborough Sec. A bunch of us were in Roxborough Sec together. I was in the same cohort with Linford Beckles, so that's Figgy. Everybody knows him as Figgy. Alson Sylvester, who is now at Speyside High, teaching there and vice principal there, I think he is. Cushel Martin, who is also on the live and is a teacher. I mean, we had a really nice bunch, and I am really, really happy I stayed in Roxborough Sec, and that I did not take up the offer to get transferred to go to bishops very early, because the offer was there. The offer was there, and I'm glad I stuck with it. So yes, I see Breaker saying yes, the best high school ever, Roxborough Composite. Yes, yes, yes. I listen. I don't care what your tongue people say. Roxborough Sec was, and this was when Roxborough Sec was in the white and brown. What we used to call the dirty brown, which, by the way, I have actually grown to love that shade of brown so much now that but as a child, all you seen is the white and the dirty brown. But now I love it. I think it was a really good idea. I have grown to like the new purple hues of purple that they're using now, but my heart is always with the brown that I went to school with. After Roxborough Sec, I went to Compre for 2 years. I did sixth form in Compre. That honestly, sixth form was a trip. It may have been my rebellious years. It may have been the time that I was really discovering myself and all of that. So I went to sixth form, did, I don't know, 3, 4 subjects, A levels. And after sixth form, I got to the United States. I went to the US. I went to the University of Pittsburgh, which is in Pennsylvania. When we think about Pittsburgh, when you think about Pennsylvania, one end of it is where you have Philadelphia and those areas closer to New York. all the way to the other end of it is where Pittsburgh is. So I went to school in Pittsburgh. I did my undergrad at the University of Pittsburgh. I studied neuroscience. Neuroscience. Oh, yes, let me throw that up. Yes, best year 1994. Yes, Cashel, I agree. Best year. Cleo, yes, White and Brown attended as well. Yes, yes. Breaker produced some of the greatest minds. Definitely. By the way, let me just stick in one quick political plug. Watson went to Roxborough Sec 2 at the same time. He was in maybe a class or two ahead of me. So I knew I knew Watson Duke from Roxborough Sec days. And the man that you see now, I mean, he is who he is. He is who he is. While everybody else had on back on the back and that kind of stuff, Watson had briefcase walking through school because that's just who he is. That's just who he was from way back when. And, you know, there's nothing anybody could do about it. You either love him or you don't. But he has a wonderful heart, and I appreciate that. And his love for Tobago, I think, is on the same level as my love for Tobago, which is why I think the group gels so well together. Do I remember when Dion speaks about martial arts? Yes. So let me throw that in real quickly because I wasn't planning to talk about martial arts, but thanks Dion for mentioning that part. I actually did martial arts. We did Shotokan karate. Dion, a couple others, Kyle. My instructor at the time was Danny Roberts, and I had actually later gotten married to Danny Roberts, who was the instructor at the time. So here we did martial arts. I actually went all the way up to black belt back then. I don't know that I could do any. I don't know that I could do any of that stuff right now because I haven't practiced any kind of martial arts in forever. But back then I did go all the way up to black belt in martial arts and so forth. So yeah, it was so funny because when I came back, for example, when I came back and I saw Dion, because remember Dion was a wee little boy when I left, and then came back and have to look up to Dion. It was so hilarious. It was so cool saying, well, whoa, showing that all of us grew up. All of us really grew up. Tyron is saying, yes, I always tell people about him and the briefcase. Yeah, anybody who went to Roxborough Sec at that time, you remember Watson with that briefcase. It was legendary. Okay, so I went, when I left Roxborough Sec, I left Roxborough Sec with, I think, maybe 7, 8, 9 subjects. I can't remember exactly, honestly. I all of the subjects I did, I got them in either 1s or 2s, and I left Roxborough Sec with I think 8 or I think maybe 8, and then I think I did POB and POA out of school or something like that. I can't remember way back when. But left Roxborough Sec, went to Compre, I did maths, chemistry, biology in maybe physics too. I can't remember, in Compre. Anyway, as I said, Compre was kind of my rebellious days. And after that, I left and went to the US, went to Pittsburgh, to the University of Pittsburgh. When I left Tobago, I left and I actually got a scholarship from the Tobago House of Assembly. That was the point where Mr. Hutroy Charles, bless his heart, bless his administration, they saw that Tobagonians needed to be educated and needed to have a special, needed to go out, be educated to come back. So I was one of those students who got a scholarship from the Tobago House of Assembly and went and studied neuroscience. I think it's one of the reasons why when I came back, I had to come back, and I am so dedicated to being in Tobago because Tobago educated me. Without that scholarship, I would not have been able to afford my tertiary education at all. So I did neuroscience. The original plan was to become a doctor. The original plan was to become a neurosurgeon, as a matter of fact. Because I remember hearing one time on news where something happened, and apparently we had maybe one neurosurgeon in the country, and then there was a news report about everybody needing to be so careful because the one neurosurgeon was going on holidays or some madness like that. And I thought to myself, that makes no sense. How could we only have one neurosurgeon in the whole country? So let me go become a doctor and let me become a neurosurgeon. When I got to Pittsburgh, I was blessed with being linked with one of the lead professors at the University of Pittsburgh's medical school of medicine. His name was Dr. Snyder. And I worked as a research assistant with Dr. Snyder. The good thing about Dr. Snyder is that because he taught at the med school, I actually had a lot of med school experience while working with him, even though I was not yet in med school. So I would be in his classes. I would be in his actual lectures when he was lecturing sometimes. I would be in his practical classes where he was teaching the medical students how to do intubation on cadavers. I experienced all of that even as an undergrad. And I also had the blessing of being in the surgery, being in the operating theater when neurosurgery was actually happening. I had a couple of those experiences. And after having those experiences, I recognized that I didn't want to be a neurosurgeon. I mean, yes, I wanted to be a doctor. You know, you leave Tobago, and when you're quote unquote bright, the options are doctor, lawyer, those kinds of things. So I left with that idea in mind. And then while there, and I thank God so much for opening my eyes early enough, I realized that as much as I thought I wanted to be a doctor, as much as I thought I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, I really didn't like being around sick people. And to be a good doctor, you needed to be comfortable being around sick people. And I also didn't really like neurosurgeons. They're kind of uppity, and they're kind of, they have this God complex, really. The neurosurgeons and the cardiac surgeons, they're the ones who your brain or your heart, and they kind of feel they are right there, a notch below God kind of thing. And I really didn't want to. I didn't want to become one of those. So thank God I recognized what public health was. And because I was working with the university, because I was working with Dr. Snyder, I was able to cancel all of my going into medical school because I had already done the SATs. I was waiting for the results, already had started sending in applications and that kind of stuff. I figured out what public health was, and I figured out that the university had a graduate school of public health. So I enrolled in it. And because I was working with Dr. Snyder, I was able to get, what did they call it? It wasn't totally free. A significant portion of it was free because I was employed with the university. So after undergrad, I went straight into Masters of Public Health in Behavioral and Community Health Sciences. I did that. That allowed me to learn a lot about what public health was, a lot about what people's behavior, a lot about how to help people become who they need to be healthier. So I was still in the medical field, I was still in the health field, but not as a medical doctor. And let me just quickly throw in, medicine deals with the individual patient interacting with the doctor, the nurse, or whoever. When you talk about public health, you are talking about a community. So while medicine deals with the individual, public health deals with the population. And the aim is to do what we can do to ensure that the population stays as healthy as it can be. So that's what public health is. So my master's degree is in public health. And I remember while I was doing the master's degree in public health, one of the professors there who I absolutely love that professor. He was one of those people who love you or hate you, either love them or hate them. He said to me, Faith, I think you should apply to the doctoral program because I think you're good enough to do it. I think you have the capacity and whatnot. You should apply. So after doing the masters, I applied and got into the Doctor of Public Health program. So my degree is a DRPH, Doctor of Public Health. I don't have a PhD. The school offers both PhDs and DRPHs, but the difference is for the PhD. The PhD focuses really on lab and science and experimentation and that kind of thing. While the DRPH really focuses on program development and running a program. So for example, every single class that I did in the DRPH program, there was a real life practical component that allowed you to use it. So even if you are newly graduating from a DRPH program, at least the one I went to, you come out of it with so much experience that you could jump into running a program. You could jump into being the director of a whatever. So, for example, if we were doing a class about evaluation, then you would actually work with a community NGO or something like that and do the evaluation for them as part of your class. While I was doing my master's, I was blessed enough to, again, I honestly, I have been blessed. I've been blessed to come in contact with the right people at the right time to give me so many opportunities. I came into contact with a doctor who was running a program where they do international travel. So a part of that was going to Tanzania. So actually, I spent a month and a half in Tanzania evaluating an HIV program in a very rural area in Tanzania. I was there were only two black people on the trip, and there were about 20 something of us there. So I did that. If you search for some of my work, my master's final thesis is on the evaluation of that program, that HIV program in Tanzania. And then when I went into the doctoral program now, I decided to focus again on HIV because that really was my baby. That has been my passion from the beginning, from as far back as I can remember. I did my doctoral dissertation on HIV prevention and treatment in Tobago. I was able to convince these people in the United States to allow me to come home for a couple months to do research and then go back and write the paper. It's available online. If you search for This is Tobago, if you just search for This is Tobago, the name of the title of the dissertation is This is Tobago, social and cultural influences of HIV infection in Tobago. So that's available online. I think I may post a link to it if anybody is interested in downloading it and reading it. So yeah, I did that and had quite a number of experiences in the United States. It was wonderful. It was a blessing. I was able to experience hardship. I was able to experience navigating a system on my own to some degree. I was able to experience so many things out there that I would not change any of it. I would not change any of it. And I am glad I was able to have those experiences because those are the things that really shaped who I am now. Those are the things that allow me to know that, for example, you know, you could see somebody and even though they're well dressed and so forth, they could still be in pain and they could still be hungry and they could still be in an abusive situation and they could still do all of these things can happen to them even though they look a certain way and so forth. So I'm really, really glad I had all of those experiences in the US. I am really, really happy I did. Of course, while there, I was able to, again, work with Dr. Snyder, bless his heart. I was able to work a little bit with Carnegie Mellon University to to design a project for them. And I did other odds and ends. I danced. I learned how to do African dancing, and I actually was part of a dance troupe in the US where I did African dancing to help me raise funds because, you know, even though for my undergrad, that was paid for by the Tobago House of Assembly, we all know how THA works. So the money came late half of the time, to the point where the accounts people and so forth knew, okay, Faith, the money is going to be late. It's coming from her country. It's going to be late. Let's lift the hold so that we could allow her to register for class. Let's lift the hold so that she could take out a book from the library because we know the money is coming. We know it's late every time, but we know it's coming. We had gotten to that point in undergrad. And for the master's and doctoral degree, I took out loans, student loans, to pay for the master's and doctoral degree because I thought to myself after the bachelor's, it would have been hard. I could not rationally think about what I would do in Tobago with a neuroscience degree, just a neuroscience degree. I couldn't figure out what I would do with it. So I just figured it made more sense for me to continue on. When I came back from the US, I came back in 2007, and I actually worked with the Division of Health and Social Services at the time, for maybe 10 years or so. I was the public health specialist working with Mr. Oswald Williams at the time. I was actually serving as his advisor, but I did not have the title of advisor, which again, I think is another blessing because he understood at that time what that title of advisor and how politically charged that title is or was. So even though I served as his advisor, I was never given that title. I was never given that title. And then when he was moved over and so forth, I continued working. One of the projects that I kind of spearheaded was the Know Your Numbers, Know Your Risk program that came out of the THA. And this is a program where we worked really, really hard at reducing non-communicable diseases in Tobago. So that program included doing health lectures, partnering with community organizations and that kind of thing, doing health lectures, doing screening. So we would go around and screen for blood pressure, sugar, cholesterol, those things. It also included exercise sessions throughout the island. And for several years, we did a Fitness on the Road, which was a Monday night showing of Carnival Monday night, while all of the other Monday night mass bands in town are just jumping up and down and whining. We used to bring out mass bands that did aerobics. And that happened for a couple of years. That happened for a couple of years, well, until Solo, who was one of the spearheads for that part of it, he died a couple of years ago. And honestly, since he's died, I don't think I've been able to do aerobics since then because every time I think of aerobics, I think of him. And I remember I think it was a year after he died, went to an aerobics class and the music, and I think they had played an old song from a year before, 2 years before, something like that. And while everybody else is doing aerobics, I am there bawling my eyes out because I could only think of solo. So I picked up running and doing other things. I am at the point now that I still can't do aerobics without feeling horribly, horribly sad and without missing solo. But yeah, if you've ever been in town Monday night, Carnival, we did it for about maybe 4 or 5 years or so. We were the ones doing those huge Monday night mass that we got sponsors from J Distributors, who was the distributors for Coke and Dasani and those things. So that is a big chunk of what I did. Continued working with health and social services, switched from being a public health specialist to being a research and policy officer, and did some work there where we did health needs assessment for Tobago. We did a strategic plan for the division. I created some, policy documents and that kind of stuff. So, basic work, what a research and policy person is supposed to do. And coming close to 20, maybe five years ago or so, I went on holidays and just decided, I didn't want to go back, and I didn't. which is probably a good thing because it allowed me to then do a little bit of consulting, which took up quite a bit of my time. One of the bigger projects that I did as a consultant was the oh my gosh, what is it called? Yes, a review of the child protection system in Trinidad and Tobago. So I was paid by UNICEF as a consultant to do it, but I worked very closely with the Office of the Prime Minister at that time to do this assessment of the child protection system. And what that assessment looked at was basically everything pertaining to children, our laws pertaining to children, what we needed to improve. And it was right after that, or coming out of that, or in conjunction with that, where we had all of these new child protection laws, the laws that we currently have now. Um, that transitioning, doing that assessment was part of that transitioning to these new laws and so forth. So yeah, that's a little bit about the work that I have done so far. And then of course, because I've always done stuff with HIV, um, I now have the Imanibet Knesset Foundation, which has several components. The bigger component, or the first grouping of it, was the Living Positively subcommittee, which in essence is a support group for people living with HIV, health, and a HIV prevention component. So we would go out and do lectures and demonstrations and that kind of stuff. So there's that part of it. And then there's also the Uzazi support group, which came about as a result of that very, very unfortunate situation that happened in 2018, where our dear former Secretary of Health made some very scathing comments about me and about my perceived fertility in the house. And coming out of that, a couple of people reached out to me and said, you know what, hey, this is my issue too. Let's do something about it. And we formed the Uzazi support group as a result of that. Because of COVID-19 and this year, a lot of things have stopped happening the way they normally would because of COVID. So a lot of the work that we would have normally done has been halted a little bit because of COVID. But it is what it is. Those are the things that I do. Other things about me, I love tattoos, if you haven't figured it out yet. So yes, Dola the Dr. Folia. I am very ratchet. I am very much thing. I love tattoos. I have a few on my hand, and I am dying, waiting for COVID to come to an end so I could call my artist again to add more to it. I absolutely love tattoos. If I see anybody with tattoos, I swear I see the tattoos before I see them. That's just a big chunk of who I am and what I do. Right now, I am absolutely enjoying politics. I think this was one of the better decisions. So I wouldn't say it's one of the better decisions. I think all of the things in my life were lining up to bring me to this point so that I could be a politician and I could be a decent politician. Albeit when I contested the elections in 2017 with the Progressive Democratic Patriots, even though I knew Mr. Duke, even though I knew Watson from secondary school, he had to contact me several times to get me involved in politics. And when I did, I contested the election in January 2017, and I lost by 5 votes. Now, I'm pausing there, doing the dramatic pause to remind people that, you see, all of this hoopla that going on, all of this talk and all of this up and down and all of this who support who and who in support who and who evil and wicked and who thief and who whatnot, all of this makes no difference if on election day you don't go out and vote. Nothing comes out of it if you don't go out and vote on election day. Because I lost my seat, I contested the Goodwood Bell Garden seat, and I lost by 5 votes. Five. And since then, I have met so many people who are apologizing. And these are the ones who've actually come up to me and said something, who are apologizing for me, who had planned to vote for me, but didn't for whatever reason. And they regret it. Several years later, I still meet new people who tell me that they regret not going to vote for me. So that is a cautionary tale for us to not take this voting thing so lightly, because that is the difference between a candidate winning and a candidate not winning. And winning is important, because as much as I am a professional, as much as I know a lot about COVID, as much as I have this doctoral degree in public health, I am not the Secretary for Health right now. I'm not the Secretary for anything. So all I can do right now is cuss. Granted, I do it pretty well, and I enjoy doing it in terms of highlighting the deficiencies of those who are in charge and those who are mismanaging Tobago and who've been mismanaging Tobago for the last 20 years. I do it pretty well. But I would really prefer to use my time, instead of just coming on Facebook and talking and highlighting the deficiencies. I would prefer to use my skills and to use my energy implementing some of these things that we want to do. And that is why I am hoping that Tobago would see what 2020 has offered us. It would see what COVID-19 has done to us. And I hope that we would really, really be more conscious of the fact that we need change, and we need positive change, and we need change that would resound in Tobago being a much better place. So going back, I think, to the first question, why did I get into politics, and what drives me, and what makes me tick, and what that kind of thing. It is because I honestly feel that Tobago is in a position where we can be better, we can do better, and because of that, I have given myself to help Tobago get to that point. I want this island to be a place that anybody can reach any height that they want. So I want this island to be a place where if you get really, really sick, you know that if you go up to the hospital, you'll be fine. And you don't have to worry about them sending a helicopter to get you to Trinidad or anything like that. That is what I want for us. I want us to be in a position where if you want to go to school and you don't want to leave Tobago, you can go to school right here. You could go to the best university right here in Tobago, because you have the best teachers, you have the best program, you have people coming from the US and Canada and Barbados and everywhere coming to Tobago, because what we offer here is the absolute best. That is what I want. And that is what I am praying that Tobago would give us, the PDP, an opportunity to help realize. That I am hoping and I am praying that we are given the opportunity to help realize that. Because to be honest, I have purposely chosen to stay in Tobago. I have purposely chosen to not work at WHO or PAHO or any of those. I mean, with my skills, my qualifications, it would be very easy for me to go leave Tobago and go do that kind of stuff. But I don't think that is where my calling is right now. My calling is to be right here doing exactly what I am doing now. And hopefully Tobago would recognize that we deserve better than what we've gotten thus far, and that we would do something about it, and that we would give my colleagues and I an opportunity to show that what we can do. You would give us an opportunity to give of ourselves, because if you realize, all of us who are at the forefront, at the leadership of the PDP, all of us who are candidates, or all of us who are the chairman and those things, we don't have to be in Tobago. We are choosing to be in Tobago because we love Tobago and because we want to see what is best for Tobago and because somebody has to step up. Somebody has to step up and do better than what we are currently experiencing. So that is why I'm here. That is why I'm doing this. And that is why I am hoping that you would walk with us. You would give us the opportunity. You would work with us to get there in January 2021 and to have the Tobago East and West seats come to the PDP. And on another live, I would talk about, I would go into a lot of the things that the vision that we have, the PDP's vision for Tobago and that kind of thing. I would do different lives talking about those things. So I don't want to go into those things now, but I am hoping that you would give us the opportunity by giving us those 2 seats, Tobago East and West, so that we could really negotiate with those seats in Trinidad and to give us the seats in the THA so that we could think. So Anne Lee Daniel says, it's getting too political. Tell us your favorite dish and your travels. My favorite dish changes ever so often. I am one of those people who get a favorite dish. I eat it every single day for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I can't stand it anymore. Right now, what is my favorite dish? I don't have one right now. It varies. It really, really varies. I've been craving roti, but that's probably because we've been locked down and I can't get it so far. So I love mangoes. If you know anything about me, you know I love mangoes and I love long mangoes. Travels, I have been, well, as I said, I've been to Africa, I've been to Tanzania and to Kenya. I have been to Mexico. I've been to some Caribbean islands, Barbados. I was actually baptized in Barbados as a spiritual Baptist. I'm a Granvilleite. For those of you who know anything about Bishop Granville, in may his soul rest in peace in Barbados. And where else have I gone? I've gone to Southern America, to Guyana, to Suriname. I love Suriname. I absolutely love Suriname. I love Guyana too, actually. And I'm sure I've been to other places. Oh, I went on my first cruise in December. Oh my God, did I? That was too close to for comfort. Oh my goodness. But yes, I went on my first cruise in December from Miami. We went to Bahamas and Mexico and back to Miami and so forth. So I promised this would not be too long. And I think those are all of the things that I had highlighted to talk about. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Share this live. If you have other questions, you could ask. And I promise I would be doing these more frequently so we could get to know each other and we could get to interact with each other, and again, thank you all so much. Thank you for tuning in. My pet peeves, I don't like advantage. I don't like advantage at all. And I always root for the underdog. Again, it goes back to my ideas of of um of of wanting to see the best in people. Oh, my mother just talked about Dubai. I so technically I tell people that I go to Dubai, but technically I didn't go to Dubai because I spent 4 hours in the airport in Dubai on my way to, I think it was Kenya. I chose the longest possible route that took me to Dubai, to Kenya, and then back. Thing. So as much as I would love to say I went to Dubai, because I didn't leave the airport, technically I can't say it. Best makeup tip. Girl, I don't know. Best makeup tip, go to a makeup artist to have them teach you what to do, because that's what I did. I went to an image consultant, and the image consultant, Sean Danielle Devines, taught me, she did my thing, taught me how to wear colors and that kind of thing. And then I went to makeup artist and paid for her to show me how to put on makeup. Cosmo Girl, I am a Cosmo Girl. I went to her, spent a couple hours well with her, and both of them did really, really good job. And I've been on my own since then. So that would be it. Uh, Junior Darlington said, great. Nice seeing you, Junior. Good seeing you on the live. So, guys, okay, so I think I'm going to wrap up now. Hope you all had a great day. Hope you had a great day. Share the live, and thank you so much for tuning in. And let's do this again. Maybe I'll do another live on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, somewhere around it. No, not Thursday, maybe Friday or Saturday, depending. And we go from there. All right. See you all. This was wonderful. Thank you so very much.